So before we begin, I want to preface by saying that Lucy is not my favorite character in Fairy Tail. Hell, she isn't even my favorite female character in Fairy Tail. That goes to the funny, badass woman who isn't afraid to be vulnerable, Ursa Scarlet. But I feel like Lucy is a tragically misunderstood character. A lot of people think that she is nothing but a fan service character and that she adds nothing more to the series, but I am here to tell you about how wrong that misconception really is. She is extremely important, and far, far more important than just her fan service moments. She is actually a rare exception for me where the fan service moments don't really take away from her character. Lucy is just Lucy, fan service and all. Her character wouldn't be who she is without it. But let's actually get into why Lucy is a great character and why you should love her character and put respect on her name. When we are first introduced to Lucy, she is a stereotypical teenage girl, and you can tell she's a little bit spoiled as well. She isn't a bad person, but you can tell just by how she talks. She is a big fan of the Fairy Tail Guild and would like nothing more than to join the guild one day. She goes to the port town of Hargion in hopes of meeting a member of the guild who is said to be there right now. She does end up meeting that person, but she doesn't realize it at that moment. She treats them to a meal and then they go their separate ways. She then ends up speaking to the fake Fairy Tail member who ends up hitting on her. She's interested, but knows that this is her ticket into the guild, so she sucks it up. It's at this point that we learn that there is more to Lucy than just this spoiled teenager. She is actually quite strong and can handle herself in a fight. This entire first episode really throws you off because when we eventually learn her backstory, it completely contextualizes why Lucy is who she is and why she wanted to join the guild in the first place, despite obviously coming from a more luxurious background than everyone else in the guild. Lucy is the daughter to Jude Heartfilia. She's the only heir to the Heartfilia name. She was born into wealth and status, and that doesn't mean her life was all sunshine and rainbows. She lost her mother at a young age, and her father ignored her for so long until he needed her for his own political gains. She was lonely and had no friends around her age. She had her spirits and some of the people in the mansion, but that was it. So when she had the chance, she left and never looked back. This also makes for one of the first fairy tale arcs in the story that really lets you know what kind of show this is going to be. Because the Fairy Tail Guild gets attacked after Lucy's father hires another guild to kidnap Lucy and bring her back to him. Lucy is watching the guild that she has grown to love even more than she ever did before get destroyed right in front of her eyes, and she thinks that it's all her fault. She is devastated, but she also sees that even though she hasn't even been in the guild for that long, she is already family, and they would do anything to protect her. However, at this point, Lucy is willing to give herself up if it means the guild can be safe. This shows just what kind of person she is. She has found a real family with this guild, but she was willing to throw her own happiness away if it meant that she could protect them. And honestly, this all hits pretty hard. A lot of people hate on Lucy for some really stupid reasons, some of which I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. I can at least understand. But then there are other reasons where I'm like, did we even watch the same show? So the first thing I want to talk about is fan service. Lucy is by far the biggest victim of this in Fairy Tail. However, what I don't agree with is that people say that Lucy is only there for the fan service, because that is the furthest thing from the truth. Yes, she does have a lot more than necessary fan service scenes, but she has so much more depth to her character that it really doesn't take away from her character. Plus, Fairy Tail does this in a way more tasteful way than a series like Fire Force, for instance. Fairy Tail doesn't really take away from any serious moments with unnecessary fan service. Instead, it is often used to lighten the mood a little bit after something really heavy has happened. Does it always work? No, but that's for each their own. It never really interrupts anything serious, and it never takes away from any of the characters. Plus, it works really well for characters like Gray. Gray gives so much fan service to the ladies as well, but you never hear people complain about him. It is only when it comes to Lucy that it's a problem. But hey, to each their own, I guess. Almost every single popular shounen anime, with a few exceptions, has heavy fan service in it, and so if that is your biggest complaint, then please explain why it's a problem for Fairy Tail, specifically Lucy, and no other series or character. The next major complaint I see targeted towards Lucy is one that I find to be completely idiotic, and is what I meant when I said did we even watch the same show, because I see people even still to this day who call Lucy weak. And I'm just sitting here like, what? Because she is quite literally one of the strongest members of the guild, and I don't just mean that as a 100-year quest, because that's more obvious than what I'm talking about. Even at the very beginning of the story she is. She had 3 Zodiac spirits at the beginning of the story, and one of them is arguably the strongest of the Zodiac in Aquarius. But it's not just her spirits that make her strong. Lucy doesn't just sit back and let her spirits do all the fighting. She fights alongside all of her spirits, and she even has her iconic Lucy kick move. Plus, she also uses a whip as a weapon. She is right there on the front lines with her spirits. She is not just some weakling who sits back and lets her spirits do all the fighting. And yes, I'll be the first to acknowledge that Lucy gets done really dirty in some arcs, especially the Grand Magic Games. She is extremely strong, this is why she is able to contribute to pretty much every single arc as a member of the strongest team in Fairy Tail. I really feel that oftentimes the Lucy hate is forced. I feel that way about Fairy Tail hate in general, really, but especially about Lucy. She's a great character who adds so much to the show. If it wasn't for her, Fairy Tail the Guild, not the show, would even be around. There are times where she has single-handedly saved the guild, and yet people still seem to think that she's weak. Sure, if you compare her to the other main characters like Natsu or Grey or Urza, then yeah, she isn't anywhere near that level, but she's 100% in the top 10 strongest Fairy Tail members. Plus, she is such an in-depth character that she is just great to see. She doesn't treat her spirits like slaves for one, they are her closest friends, and that is why she doesn't just send them out to fight alone, she is always there to fight right alongside them. She also sometimes sacrifices herself for them, that's how much she cares. Lucy is an extremely complicated character. I didn't even come close to covering all of that in this video. She contributes so much to the story and is a main character and a valued member of the strongest team in Fairy Tail for a reason. So if you hate Lucy, that's fine, she isn't my favorite female character in Fairy Tail either, hell she isn't even top 3 for me. But I still love her character so much because I recognize just how important she is to the story of Fairy Tail, and know just how much she contributes. So, that was the video. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton, and if you do decide to join the community, then I guess I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!